Have you ever had a friendship that just felt well off?
Hmm.
Like you couldn't quite figure out what was wrong, but you always left feeling sort of drained or maybe confused?
Yeah, that feeling.
Yeah.
It happens.
So today, we're doing a deep dive into that, into the hidden world of female friendships. We're using insights from the book Toxic Friendships, knowing the rules and dealing with the friends who break them.
It's a really interesting book because it tackles something we all kind of experience, those unwritten expectations in our friendships.
Exactly.
And it looks at what happens when those unspoken agreements get broken. That's
Yeah.
where the friction, the toxicity can start.
Right. The whole idea is that there's this underlying code, you know, a code of conduct in our close female friendships. And understanding these hidden rules, well, it's key to figuring out why some friendships work so well and others just don't.
Or become really difficult. Yeah.
It's not about pointing fingers, more about understanding the dynamics.
And, you know, right at the heart of all this is just our basic human need for connection. It's fundamental.
We're social creatures, definitely.
We need those bonds for comfort, security, feeling like we belong. It's huge for our self-esteem, too. I mean, think way back. Being part of a group literally meant survival.
That need hasn't really gone away, has it?
Not at all. It's deep-seated. And our earliest attachments, like with our parents, they can actually shape how we approach friendships later on.
Oh, interesting. Like blueprints.
Kind of, yeah, blueprints for what we expect, how we connect.
And friendships themselves aren't static, are they? They change so much throughout life.
Oh, completely. Think about childhood best friends. It's all about play, right? Then adolescence hits, and it's more about figuring out who you are, those intense cliques.
Finding your identity within the group.
Exactly. And then as adults, we often look for a different kind of support network, people who get the juggling act of careers, family, all that stuff.
The roles definitely evolve.
Right.
But the book argues, and this is the core idea, that there are these foundational sort of universal unspoken rules keeping healthy female friendships going.
That's the framework. It breaks them down into categories. There's being, which covers things like being trustworthy, having empathy, even being okay with your friend having other friends.
Okay, so being, what else?
Then doing, this is the active stuff, giving emotional support, practical help too, like, you know, helping someone move, remembering favors, repaying them, defending your friend.
Standing up for them when they're not there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's important.
And the last one is refraining, the things you generally try not to do.
The don'ts, like we're
Constant negativity, criticizing your friend in public, that's a big one. Or unchecked jealousy. It's like this invisible social contract we have.
an invisible contract. I like
Uh.
that. And when someone breaks a rule from that contract, especially consistently, that's when things start feeling toxic.
That's often the trigger, yes. Take the public criticism example. If a friend constantly puts you down or shares embarrassing things about you in front of others,
Yeah.
it just chips away at the trust, doesn't it? It's a major breach of that unspoken agreement.
You can really feel that betrayal. So the book helps identify when rule breaking crosses over into, well, truly toxic behavior, actions that actually harm you or the relationship.
Yes, it helps make that distinction. And it also points out that these toxic dynamics aren't just in one-on-one friendships. They can pop up in, say, parent groups, workplaces,
Sure.
anywhere there are established social networks.
Right. It's not just about bad people.
No, the focus is more on the damaging impact of the behaviors on the relationship itself, less on labeling individuals with specific types.
Okay, so let's say you, the listener, are recognizing some of these patterns.
Hmm.
What then? The book gives some guidance on how to assess the situation, right?
Yeah.
It's not always just cut them off.
Exactly. It offers ways to think about how serious the rule breaking is. How much is it actually costing you emotionally?
Right.
And it encourages you to weigh things up. Can this be repaired, maybe with an honest chat, setting some clearer boundaries? Or are the patterns too ingrained, too harmful, and maybe it is time to step back?
And that leads to something really vital, which is self-awareness, looking inward.
Oh, absolutely crucial. The book really stresses understanding your own role, your vulnerabilities, what you bring to the friendship dynamic.
Knowing yourself better.
Yes, self-reflection is key. When you know your own needs and limits, you're way better equipped to set healthy boundaries.
And boundaries aren't about building walls, are they?
Not at all. It's more like setting guidelines. How do you expect to be treated? What are you willing and not willing to accept or invest in a friendship? It's really a form of self-care.
which leads to healthier connections in the long run.
Definitely. Stronger, more fulfilling ones.
So I guess the main takeaway here is that if we become more aware of these invisible rules, these unspoken agreements in our friendships, and we learn to recognize when they're being broken,
Hmm.
we can navigate these really important relationships with more clarity, maybe more intention.
Yes, exactly. And build friendships that genuinely support and enrich us rather than leaving us feeling drained. It's about understanding the dynamics and making conscious choices.
Okay, so a final thought for you listening.
Mm.
Take a moment to think about your own close friendships. What's one unspoken rule in those relationships that, if it were broken, would feel like a really significant blow, something that would shake the foundation?